Okay, right, it's Karen Waimana, Hawke's Bay. Okay, Karen, it's nice, thanks for giving us the time today. And so what's got you into reflexology?
Well, many years ago I was unwell myself and medicine wasn't helping me, and I ended up going to a naturopath who performed reflexology, which I knew nothing about, and I just totally melted. And I thought, this is amazing, what are you doing? So she explained it to me and used iridology as well, and I was just totally hooked because I've always loved having my feet massaged, and now I knew what it was all about. So that drove me to wanting to learn in the late 80s, early 90s when my children were little, so that I had something I could help them with to relieve congestion in their sinuses if they had a cold, or to relax them to go to sleep. So yeah, that was back in 93, I think I started doing some basic reflexology.
And so whereabouts did you learn?
I did my basic one weekend course at the Lotus Holistic Centre in Hastings with a naturopath, Yvonne Sterling, and she was an amazing tutor, and really I was hooked after that. And then following that, in the only training that was available in New Zealand at that time was with the New Zealand Association, NZRA, New Zealand Reflexology Association, which was run by Deanne Remont Kilby, and she was associated with the International Institute of Reflexology with Dwight Byers in America, and she ran the New Zealand College of Reflexology. So that's where we went to train, and that completed our training. It was in 1996. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got, when you did your training, did you do a lot of history in New Zealand of reflexology? Did you go back further and find out, like, where did you get the idea of reflexology from? Did you read a book?
Our history really evolved through the textbook that Dwight Byers, which is what Deanne was using, and that was the Unisingum, and how she had the book Stories the Feet Can Tell and the Stories the Feet Have Told, and that was her development with Dwight putting that into a format. But really, I think from my knowledge, Deanne was the first person in New Zealand to create an association for New Zealand, and that was in the early 80s. Yeah.
And you were living in Hawke's Bay?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you first hear about reflexology?
When I went to the naturopath, that would have been in the mid-80s was when I went to the naturopath, and she performed reflexology, and I'd never heard of it before.
Okay. And so do you know other people who have had a major influence of reflexology in New Zealand apart from the lady you were talking about?
Before I did my training with Deanne, there was another group who had gone through, and one of those people was Elaine Graham. Now when they sat their exam, Dwight Byers came out from America and did their examinations. I forgot your question.
Oh, just other people who've had a major influence.
That's right. So after Elaine, she completed her training, and I'm very gifted to have her International Institute badge, which she has given to me from what she received. They received a metal badge when they passed their training. Now on from that, Elaine was a hugely enthusiastic reflexology person, and she came back to Hawke's Bay and she began to teach introductory classes. At that point in time, we had the classes could be, I think she taught them at one of the night classes, and then from there she did some basics at the Lotus Holistic Centre, and then through consultation with Deanne created a course which Deanne approved to be taught as a practitioner course within New Zealand. And that's what she started to do. And she was also working with another lady who was down the South Island, who was a reflexologist as well. Lady Redden? I have to look up some names, but she did, Marianne Remner in Christchurch was another person, because in 2000 we had 5 reflexologists in Christchurch, but Marianne did some tutoring down there. So yeah, that's really the basis of earlier people with reflexology that I know.
And so how do you see reflexology in New Zealand?
Now?
Yes.
In New Zealand I see it as a very exciting future. It's slowly getting out there to people. People are more aware of it. I personally would like to be moving into educating the public to help themselves, and the self-help things you can do with reflexology are just amazing. So I have done a couple of little courses with that. But getting it out to the public, I feel, is a good next step for New Zealand.
Okay. Right. Now I've got
Turn it on.